Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to a new video. I hope you guys are doing well today. In this video, we'll be talking about why you would bring a Prot Pally to a Mythic Plus. Now, it sounds quite simple. I'm going to be doing these videos for all of the tanks as I can. I only have 4 of the tanks currently leveled max level, so it's going to take me a little while to do all of them, but for the ones that I have got max level, we're certainly going to be doing this and just talking through why you would want to bring each tank, what do they bring, etc. So, first thing we talk about, Prot Pally. Why would you bring a Prot Pally over any other tank to Mythic Plus? Now, there are a couple of majorly defining reasons. Prot Pallies typically, in terms of Covenant, play either Kyrian or Venthyr, with Night Fae and Necrolords being usable, I guess, but not really viable. Kyrian being very, very strong just in general. It almost entirely negates the Necrotic Affix at times. It has some strong Soulbinds. There's just lots of synergy there. So, Kyrian, it feels like Kyrian spot in your group. Obviously, you don't really want more Night Faes. Almost every group's going to have a Night Fae with how many classes kind of work into that right now. But, so this fills that Kyrian role. It can fill the Venthyr role as well, but the playstyle does change a little bit. In terms of everything else it brings. So, the first one that I want to talk about is interrupts. I've just done a Necrotic Wake 11. As you can see on the screen, at the end of this run, I had a total of 37 interrupts. Now, in fairness, 8 of those were from Discharge Anima, the Orb, but I'm also not very good at rotating my Avenger's Shield and Rebukes. I'm 100% sure that I could have been hitting 30, 35 interrupts in this dungeon on my own, even with Inspiring. And people really underestimate that Prot Pallies can almost solely beat their entire group added together in terms of interrupts if you play well. If you're rotating your Avenger's Shield, if you're rotating your Rebukes, if you have the Avenger's Shield Legendary, you really can do a lot of work. And we will get into Legendaries and things like that shortly, but the interrupts, personally, is a major factor. If you have a very ranged-heavy group, and you're getting 26-second cooldown interrupts, or you have a booming, you have a minute cooldown interrupts, then you're really going to be lacking in that department, and you may want to then look for a Prot Pally just to even it up a little bit. The second thing we're going to look at is versatility. Prot Pallies have something for every situation. They have self-healing, they have Shield of the Righteousness, which is just a very, very nice kind of cooldown. A very, very nice active mitigation. It's not like Warriors where you have to choose between damage and mitigation. It does both on the same button. And gives you healing through talents and passives, which is also really nice. You have Blessed Hammer, which is just damage reduction just used on a cooldown. Yes, obviously it is a talent and you might choose Holy Shield for block and things like that, but you have so many different ways to deal with things. Typically, if you're a Pally, you're either Tauren or you're Blood Elf, you have Arcane Torrent or War Stomp. Again, more utility, more versatility on what you can do with the class. You have 2 forms of immunity in Blessing Protection and Bubble, Divine Shield. Both of these can be used to great extent on certain mechanics and things like that. You have Argent Defender, which is just a cheat death. That's fantastic. You have Guardian of Ancient Kings, which is an incredible cooldown. 50% damage taken reduced is really nice. Comes around quite often if you run in the Conduit and the Talent. You have Wings, which people go, oh yeah, but Wings is a damage cooldown. It's not. It increases your critical strike chance, which means you're healing more if you are healing yourself. It increases your healing as well. It just does everything you want to do during that period. And yes, of course, it also does help with damage, which is nice. You have Freedom, you have Sack, you have a Divine Steed if you just want to get away, you have a little bit of mobility. One of the downsides, and I will talk about a couple of the downsides, one of the downsides with Prot Pally is their mobility. They have very short periods of okay mobility, but outside of Divine Steed, they don't really have too much. So they almost mandatory have to run the Divine Steed Conduit just to be able to get around anywhere. But to counter that, they have one of the best kites in the game. Their Consecration gives I believe it's a 50% reduced movement speed to every enemy in it. It's also, and that's one of the talents, so you do have to take it as a talent, but you would never not take it in Mythic Plus. Increases the range of it. You always want Consecration down because of your mastery. You also have Blessed Hammer, so you can keep throwing Blessed Hammers around to keep aggro. You can keep throwing Avenger Shield in there, Divine Tolls, things like that, Judgments, all from range. If you need to, you can kite. And I think that's partly what makes Prot Pally very, very good, is that really good Prot Pallies, the ones that you run with and you just go, wow, I didn't have to heal him. They're the ones that are going into a pack, getting aggro on everything, and then they're just leaving the pack. They're keeping everything together with Consecration, and they are just kiting very, very well, and they don't take damage, and that's the thing. And the last thing I want to talk about is utility. Prot Pallies have an immense amount of group utility. They have incredible off-healing. My Word of Glories are, just to give you some example, my average Word of Glory in that last run was 11,000. I cast it 44 times. Now, it's obviously not always on other people. Sometimes I was casting them on myself. But, I mean, you have that option. You have Lay on Hands. If things are going really, really bad, you have the ability to just go, nope, you are full health. You have a lot of different things you can do. Like I said before, you have things like Sack, you have things like Freedom. If you watch this video all the way to the end, or if you see the last boss in Necrotic Wake, you can see that you can almost ignore one of the hard mechanics or one of the annoying mechanics in this dungeon, which is the binds on the last boss, by just pre-freeding the cast. When things are going bad during a Pride or things like that, you throw a Sack out, you just help the healer out. You have so much utility, and it's something that's almost unmatched on most other tanks. So other tanks have utility. So Demon Hunters have things like a AoE grip. Blood DKs have something similar. Druid is probably quite similar to Prot Pally in their ability to offer group utility. But a lot of Druid's group utility has to be done out of form, which means you have to be stood up and either taking lots of damage or kiting or things like that. Prot Pally can be done in the middle of a fight. If someone just gets chunked or stands in something, you just throw a quick Word of Glory on them and boom, they're in a relatively healthy position. I have already, as a Prot Pally, solo healed a Prideful on a 12. I'm fairly confident that I could solo heal an entire Mythic Plus dungeon. Something I actually want to try next week. Next week we have really nice affixes, so I'm going to go into a dungeon with 4 healers. With 4 DPS on probably like a 12 or something, just to get a feel of it. I'm not particularly geared in my Pally. I'm only 203, 204 eye level. And run through it, and I think I would be able to do it. That's the amount of utility and group benefit that a Prot Pally has. So let's talk about a couple of different variations then. Like I said, you have 2 different Covenant choices, really, which is Venthyr and Kyrian. Kyrian offers a 1-minute short cooldown that does a little bit of everything. It offers more of that versatility that we're talking about. You have heals off it, you have holy power off it, things like that. So you have lots of different benefits that you can use Divine Toll for, threat and things like that. You then have Ashen Hollow, which kind of requires you to play that big, massive pull, need to pull all the mobs in a room, use Ashen Hollow and AoE them all down, which can work, and if you play around it, potentially it's very, very good. But me personally, I think the consistency of Divine Toll wins out, and Kyrian is just king for Mythic Plus tanking because of that vial. The other part then we have is Legendaries. Now, the 2 recommended Legendaries for Prot Pally is the Holy Avenger's Engraved Sigil and Bulwark of Righteous Fury. They offer 2 different things in Mythic Plus depending on what you're looking for, and I really, really like this, is that you can almost decide which one you want to do. I'm personally running the Holy Avenger's Engraved Sigil. The reason for this is I want to start tanking higher keys, I want to go for Keystone Master on every tank, and this is the more defensive legendary. You also have Bulwark of Righteous Fury, which gives you an insane amount of damage. If you walk into a pack and Avenger Shield straight into Shield of the Righteous, you'll easily hit 20k AoE burst DPS, and that's enough that you're going to get Snap Threat on pretty much every mob. That's something that Pally does have a little bit of issue with if you don't have Avenger Shield up, if you don't have Holy Power up. You haven't got a lot to get aggro, and that's something that you do need to be a little bit wary of. But all in all, I'm gonna start giving like ratings for tanks overall at the moment. I think Prot Pally, after the buffs next week, potentially are the next best tank for pugs. MDI, because they don't have an AoE grip, I think they're still going to struggle to break into that MDI meta. But I think for Mythic Plus Pugs, I think Prot Pallies could potentially be the next best tank. We're already seeing them at a high level. We're already seeing good representation of them. I think they're in a very, very good spot, and they've only just got better with a 10% damage nerf. So guys, tell me what you think. Are you liking Prot Pally? Are you considering re-rolling? Anything like that? Leave your comments below. We'll get back to you. And yeah, next one coming out is probably going to be Guardian Druid. So if you're interested, make sure you subscribe to the channel and stick around for that. Other than that, thank you for watching. Catch you later. See you later, guys.